evening. I want to call to order the public hearing on the proposed budget for the Maricopa County Community College District Governing Board for May 22nd, 2012. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing concerning the adoption of the proposed budget of the Maricopa County Community College District for fiscal year 2012-2013. This hearing is required by law. The purpose of the hearing is to give any resident or taxpayer the opportunity to protest the inclusion of any item of the proposed budget. But first, I'm going to ask Ms. Thompson and her staff to explain on behalf of the governing board the proposed budget.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. This is the third time we have brought the budget for the board to review, and this is the final time we're expecting to bring the budget forward since we're seeking budget adoption for the fiscal 12-13 budget. In addition to those three times that we formally presented the budget, we did share information about resource availability and uses back in February. So there have been 4 briefings on budget matters in the last several months. At this time, I'd like to turn the stage over to Gay Murphy for a presentation on the proposed budget.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, board members, CEC members, and audience. I wanted to thank everybody who came to the major taxpayers meeting we had yesterday. It's hosted at South Mountain at the new community library, and this is a picture of the library. And I thought it was a wonderful opportunity, and just wanted to say how grateful we were to South Mountain for hosting that for us. But welcome tonight to talk about the proposed fiscal 12-13 budget. The budget for next year is relatively flat for our general operating fund. Our largest increase we're looking at is for our capital fund, and that's related to a planned issue of bonds that could take place in the spring of 2013. Our restricted fund is primarily financial aid, and our auxiliary fund, fee-for-service activities, is really self-balancing. We charge a fee, provide the service. More people buy the service, then we collect more money, and the fund balance goes, or the fund goes up. So in terms of our operating highlights, we had about $23 million available in our general fund. Most of that, however, was not new resources. Mostly it came from reallocation of existing resources. We did have, and reallocation also required us to make internal cuts. So we did internal cuts in reallocation. We did have an increase in property taxes from new construction, but the budget is not, we're not proposing tonight an increase on existing property. So no increase in the tax, in the levy collection on existing property. No tuition increase either. We're looking at increase in the tax rate because the property values have gone down. In terms of expenditures, we were looking at covering mandatory costs for things like health insurance, or excuse me, our retirement system, workers' compensation, and some limited increases for student success and then employee compensation. Our budget has to balance. So the first thing really we had to take care of was covering the use of funds that had been budgeted for one time in the current year. Normally we don't do this, but with the large cut that we received in state tax support, we did use some one-time funds that we had available that we received through the federal stimulus. We used that to kind of plug that hole. Now we're going to look to grow into our operating budget and cover that with additional resources. And again, we have made some budget cuts, we're going to make additional cuts for fiscal 12-13. We did have a little bit in new property added to the tax rolls, and state aid increased by $1.4 million. And again, as far as uses go, presidential scholarships, these are given to the top high school students in their class who come to Maricopa. We had some other mandatory increases for retirement contribution rates. Flex benefits is an increase in the health care. And again, initiatives such as compensation and an increase in student success. Our Fund 3, fee-for-service activities, Fund 2, fee-for-service activities, including skills centers and non-credit activities. And our restricted fund is primarily for financial aid. And we're hoping that we see an increase. There's been some discussion federally about possibility of cuts, and we're hoping that that doesn't happen. For Fund 7, that's our capital. We're looking at a $105 million increase. We're planning to move forward next spring with the last of our 5 planned bond issuances under the 2004 Capital Development Program. To date, we've issued about $800 million, so this would be the last of the GO bonds under the approved program. We're looking at continuation of transfers from Fund 1 to Fund 7 to make up for the loss of capital state aid that occurred several years ago. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Board members, do you have questions?
When you talked about the gains in new property tax,
Yes.
there wasn't anything that showed what we've lost in old property tax?
We haven't really lost in old property tax. The property values went down, but as the property value went down, we increased the rate, so the levy would remain the same. Now, last year the board did approve an increase in the levy, and then the rate went up a little more, so we would collect that increase. But this year we didn't ask, and the board did not approve an increase in the rate on existing property. So the only increase we're getting is from property added to the tax rolls, from new construction.
Well, I understand that, but as there are property taxes going down,
Yes.
and so that has to mean a loss. I mean, I look at what it says, Maricopa Community Colleges, on my property tax bill. Properties, they've gone down. So what's the loss?
Okay. The way property tax is figured is county-wide.
Correct.
Some property may go down, some property may go up.
I understand, because it compensates to those.
Right.
So you're saying to me there is no loss because of that equalizing?
That's right.
Am I paying less than I am? Okay.
And that is something, Mr. President, Ms. Pearson, that you pointed out in the past, that happens when you look at averaging across an area as large as Maricopa County. Even this year, some individuals will see their property taxes go down, and some will see them go up. And again, depending on where you live, whether they're other taxing entities in that you're under a school district or a library district may also.
I just think it's really sad because the properties that are going down the hardest and are having the greatest fall are actually in neighborhoods and people and communities that are more affluent. And so that means that the burden is being shifted to some people who really can't afford it.
other comments? At this time, I will afford any resident or taxpayer the opportunity to address the governing board. To ensure that we have sufficient time to cover them all, each speaker will have up to 2 minutes to address the board. The board will listen but will not respond directly to comments. Board discussion will occur after public comment. We have one request to speak from Reverend Tex Sample.
Good evening. I'm delighted to be here. I'm representing the Valley Interfaith Project and the Arizona Career Pathways Organization, which is cooperating with the MCCCD in doing long-term job training for our community. Let me say first that we appreciate very much the workmanlike way that this board and the MCCCD has dealt with budget cuts, the way in which you continue to put together a budget, and the way in which you continue to provide a good product for your students and your graduates. Your work here is just absolutely essential, not only to the economic recovery of this community, but indeed for training the kind of people we're going to need if we're going to compete in a global economy. We are not competing with a person only down the street. In this world now, we're competing with people all around the world, and we're competing with places like Denver, Albuquerque, San Francisco, other places. So the kind of workforce preparation that the MCCCD provides is utterly indispensable. If we're going to work in this kind of world, we've got to have you, and we've got to continue to have the kind of careful, thoughtful work that you've done in presenting budgets and continuing to turn out really, we think, first-rate students. We also appreciate the cooperation we've experienced from you, our work with Chancellor Glasper, with his staff, with Randy Clemens and others. We've appreciated that very much, and are glad for the kind of cooperative spirit we find with the administration, the staff, and indeed with this board. We've also met with some of you, hope to meet with more. Finally, we've only recovered 25% of the jobs since the downturn. We've got a long way to go. And I want to congratulate this board, the MCCCD, for the way in which you have that kind of vision. I think what I'm impressed with, and I've met with people on the board, people, the administration, the staff, I must have been in more than a dozen meetings. And I must say that every time what comes through to me is the way in which this group cares about this community, cares about the training of its people, and works to make sure that we've got the kind of community that can not just compete, but prosper. Have I got time for one quick piece? Back in the mid-19th century, St. Joseph, Missouri, and Kansas City, Missouri, were in neck-and-neck competition to see which would be the key city on the western edge of Missouri. The railroad was coming through. Now, St. Joe, terrific place, and it had the Pony Express, and that was classic and important. But some visionaries in Kansas City understood that the railroad would change everything. And so they began with the vision of bringing that railroad first through Kansas City. They did so. Kansas City is now 1.5 million people. St. Joe is, as I recall, around 100,000. Where we are today is facing a similar challenge. If we do not do the economic development, if we do not do the workforce development, then we place ourselves in the relationship that St. Joe did to the coming of the train. Now we have a global economy that's already here. And I congratulate you for the work you've already done and want to encourage you with this kind of careful work with budget and otherwise to continue that effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your support. Are there any other citizens who wish to address the board about our budget? Hearing none, I'm going to ask board members if you have any comments about the budget. Hearing none, I'm going to adjourn this special meeting, the public hearing on the budget for 2012-2013. And then I'm going to move into another special meeting where we approve the budget. And I call to order a special meeting to consider adoption of the 2012-2013 budget. The purpose of this meeting is to approve the proposed 2012-2013 Maricopa Community College District budget. In approving the budget, the board also authorizes the expenditure of budgeted revenues and realized or designated fund balances within the total amount budgeted in each fund: current, unrestricted, auxiliary, restricted, and plant funds. Is there a motion on budget adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Pearson moves. Dr. Campbell seconds the motion to approve the 2012-2013 document. Any discussion? Yes. Any discussion? All right, I'm going to call the roll of board members. Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Lum?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Starr?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The budget is adopted unanimously. This ends the special meeting for the approval of the 2012-2013 budget. The next, and I'm sorry to keep all you waiting, but we have to have a recess to sign some papers, and then we'll go into our regular meeting. We'll recess for 5 minutes. All right. I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the Governing Board for May 22nd, 2012. Welcome, everyone. Mr. Starr, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to announce some substitutes for college faculty, excuse me, not college faculty, but college presidents and vice chancellors tonight. Mr. Jim Bowers is sitting in for Vice Chancellor Nikki Jackson. Greg Rogers is sitting in for Dr. Irene Kovla at Glendale Community College. And Ed Kelty is sitting in for Dr. Chris Bustamante of Rio Salado College. Welcome. This is a time for citizens interim, and the board offers opportunity for members of the public to address the governing board. In compliance with open meeting law, the governing board will neither discuss nor take action on issues raised during this portion of the agenda. When necessary, issues may be taken under advisement and placed on a subsequent agenda. I have requests from 2 persons to address the board. First is Ms. Marissa Petty.
Is it okay to come together?
All right, and the second is Stephanie Lopez.
Good evening, esteemed members of the board, Chancellor, President. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak to you this evening. We are so grateful. I am Stephanie Lopez. I am currently enrolled at Mesa Community College in their culinary program. I am about a year away from completion, and we are here tonight to discuss some of those concerns with you.
Hello, my name is Marissa Petty, and I am also an NCC Culinary Arts student. I am a mother of 3, and I am a working, full-time working parent. And I would like to address some of the concerns that we have with the transfer from NCC to SCC. We're here today to address our concerns regarding our NCC culinary program being relocated to Scottsdale Community College. We understand and we applaud the One Maricopa concept and believe that if it is implemented correctly, it will be a great benefit for us, the students, as well as for our communities. We're asking for a moment of pause until all the students that are currently enrolled in the Mesa Culinary Program can be guaranteed a successful pathway to graduation in a reasonable time frame. We chose Mesa Community College because of its proximity to our work and homes. We chose Mesa Community College because the course of graduation was neatly mapped out for us and our futures were clear. We understand and we know that Mesa Community College program has been looked over from an administrative standpoint, and we are truly grateful. We are asking you to please look at it from a student standpoint and how this will affect our success. There are added hardships that come with us moving to Scottsdale. A student with a family must now arrange to leave work earlier and find a sitter for a longer period of time, 3 to 4 times a week. The cost incurred from the extra babysitting and the extra gas mileage is significantly. Because of these hardships, students may be forced to choose between work and school. Students without their own transportation are now being forced to find alternative methods to travel to and from school, where before they were able to walk or take a bus, adding expenses that are necessary to arrive to Scottsdale Community College. There are currently enrolled over 180 active students in the Mesa Community College culinary program. And this does not include those students who are not presently enrolled and have taken some of the classes that are not taking classes right now for personal reasons, family commitments, pregnancies, financial hardship, and their new jobs. Delaying their education for a semester or 2. If classes are canceled, how do they continue their education to a successful graduation when they return to school? The cost of living in Scottsdale is considerably more than in Mesa, making the possibility of relocation difficult.
We understand that as of now, MCC doesn't have a permanent facility for its culinary program. However, we've worked pretty well with the existing program, and many students have gone on to be successful employees and business owners. Currently, there is a building not 250 yards from the main Dobson campus that is sitting vacant and potentially becoming a liability. Wouldn't it be a great one Maricopa County, one Maricopa project, if we could utilize the student workforce in a way that is mutually beneficial to bring that building up to code and potentially become a revenue-producing program? We know that there's no easy solution, and we are not asking you to put a stop to this permanently, but merely take a pause. Nothing has been done that cannot be undone. We are asking you and the MCC staff to revisit this decision to see if there is another alternative to the current course of action that will better suit the needs of the students. Thank you for your time and consideration. We are so grateful for the potential of revisiting this issue. I was wondering if there is someone that we may contact to see what the progress would be on this decision.
Dr. Fan.
We also have a packet we would like to hand out to you with student letters.
Sure.
Information.
Thank you so much.
The contact would be the president of Mesa, Dr. Pan.
Thank you.
There's 6.
The next item on our agenda are reports from governing board members. Dr. Campbell.
Mr. Chairman, I guess the only report I have tonight is in the last week and a half I was fortunate to be visiting graduations at 2 or 3 colleges. The first one was South Mountain Community College, where I was the keynote speaker, and surprisingly, a young lady who lived right next door to me, whom I had known since she was a baby, she walked up there and got her diploma. And I'm still surprised because she hadn't said anything during the week that I was there, but she was on it. There were two others too who went to the same church that I do. Also, the following week after that, I was invited to participate in the graduation at the Real Salado College, which I had done before. And this time we had the students for the GED program. And if I recall, there were about 350 people who showed up to receive their GED as well as other certificates. And there were other students who also received the GED, but they did not show up that particular night for various reasons. And the second graduation for Rio Salada was their regular 2-year graduation program the following night. And I think we had about 150 or 200 students there that night. And the good thing about it, both graduations, the Orphan Theater was jammed-packed with people. There wasn't a vacant seat in the place, but there were sure people all the time who were there. And I thought it was very good. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Pearson?
I wanted to comment about the Native American graduation and the ceremony and how awesome it was. And I want to thank Dr. Pam for the job that was done in putting that graduation ceremony on. It's very appreciated, and I'm very, very proud of the growth in the number of graduates the first year that I was elected to the board. Then to see this one, it's really increased. And I also was able to attend the Paradise Valley Community College. And the first time I spoke at Paradise Valley Community College graduation, I watched students lifting their feet off of the hot asphalt. The graduation was set up in the parking lot. And this year, to have it inside was an absolute blessing. And the party afterwards out on the grass was so beautiful. And it was a very nice venue, very nice place, and very well done. And I'm very proud of the kids, and it is a neat experience being in the community and having watched these kids grow up and have them walking across the stage and their families there that you've known for years and years and years and years. And so it really is a neat celebration after these graduations in a community college setting. It's a wonderful experience. I do want to take advantage of this opportunity to say something concerning my position on an issue that's been brought up tonight. I have a daughter-in-law that lives in my house I own in Mesa with my son, and if it were not for the bus transportation, she would not be going to MCC. And so, because she couldn't, there's just not any way they could afford to do anything different. The reason that she's at community college is because everything worked just right for her and put everything in place, because they have no money to be able to afford transportation or other alternatives. It just wouldn't happen. And so I want to thank the students for bringing this to our attention, and this is something I want to get some feedback on, and hopefully we can figure out how to address this, because that's just a tragedy to me to think about her, and so it's a very personal thing for me. And then I want to I think that we need to not miss the opportunity to thank Debbie Thompson. Everything that we hear about our budget, everything we look at about our budget, public comments about the awesome job we've done with our budget, I think Debbie Thompson goes unrecognized in those moments. And it always hurts me, like when the gentleman left, that he doesn't know that it's her, and it's Dr. Glasper, along with everyone else. But the person with the sharp pencil always seems to get left out. So I want to thank you.
Mr. Love?
This is an exciting month. I mean, and I'm glad you students are here, because this is what it's all about. we try to make this college all about you, and I really appreciate your concerns, and I do hear you. But it's a celebration of graduations. It's so exciting, and not only graduations, but I was able to attend like the Glendale award ceremony for longevity, the retirement staff, and then they give awards for 5, 10, 15, 20, 35 years, and celebrating staff too. But this is the first time I was able to make all the convocations, and they're just awesome. The Asian convocation was a nice sit-down affair, and so was the gay and lesbian convocation. It was the African American convocation was real exciting, and the Buffalo Soldiers were wonderful. They mean a lot to me, and I'm glad their history is from Arizona and the Fort Huachuca area. And the Hispanic convocation, I thought we had the largest ever, and it was just really well done. So all the staff that volunteered and stepped up to run these convocations did an awesome job, and thank you, Jasper, for letting them do that. I attended the Glendale graduation, and it was the first time it was at Grand Canyon University. It was just a great event. It was all indoor. I think the place holds 5,000. It looked full to me. It holds 6,000, but there's 5,000 people there, and so it was just a beautiful event, well organized, and a good celebration of these students. Other awards, the Innovation of the Year Award at Scottsdale was very well done. We got to hear the students read their creative writing and their poems, and it's good to celebrate skills in writing and in science. I just went to the Real Solado, KJZZ did the conference on the future of solar energy, and they had a lot of the solar techs and solar people there, and it was just really good to keep up on that kind of knowledge and that kind of trend. I think I could, if we ever get those solar cells costs down to everybody could afford it, we have them on all the homes in the United States, and be thousands and thousands of jobs in that area. And I'm sorry that the Valley Interfaith people left. I did have a chance to meet with them and I went to talk to them. And it's a fine organization. I really support what they're doing, and I think we're working well together. And they really came here to support us, and we have a good working relationship with them. So thanks to Ted Sample and Monica Dorsey, who were here at the evening. Exciting time. Thank you.
Good. Mr. Sarn.
You know, I echo what's been said regarding graduations, although probably going to take several weeks before I get pomp and circumstance melody out of my mind. But you know, we graduated tens of thousands of students this year, and to me, that's why we're sitting up here tonight and do what we do. It's all for that purpose, and it's a fun time of the year.
I was able to attend all of the convocations, Hispanic, African American, American Indian, Asian Pacific Islander, and the GLBTQ convocations. Those are enjoyable each year. Very proud students who are graduating. I was able to attend both of the Rio graduations in Chandler Gilbert. I enjoyed those very much. So we congratulate all of the graduates this year. This is the reason we're in business, and that we're really pleased to attend those events. The next item on the agenda is the internal community. Dr. Glasper.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I have one item tonight. Last fall, I made the democracy commitment for the Maricopa District, and each of our 10 college presidents joined me in making the commitment on behalf of their colleges. The Democracy Commitment is a new initiative led by community colleges to create a national platform to promote civic learning and democratic engagement for all students. Civic and global engagement is an important outcome set by our governing board, and making the Democracy Commitment will help us to address this outcome. Our faculty leadership has been instrumental in this initiative, and the FEC passed a resolution endorsing the Democracy Commitment and its centrality to our mission as community colleges. Bernie Ronan has been providing leadership to the Democracy Commitment on our behalf, and I would like to ask him to come to the podium and introduce the National Coordinator of the Democracy Commitment, who is here visiting our colleges and learning more about our efforts in civic learning and democratic engagement. Dr. Ronan.
Thank you, Dr. Glasper, President Burke, members of the board, presidents of the colleges, and CEC. So let's cut to the chase and start with the board outcomes. They bear repeating. Under community development and civic and global engagement, students will have access to civic, political, and global learning opportunities. Students will develop the competencies to analyze and participate in democratic processes through community, civic, and global learning activities. These are real challenging outcomes, and we have legitimately, as colleges, been focusing on university transfer, general education, workforce development, but these are there because you want to remind us that this is a central part of our mission as community colleges. And in a sense, that's what the democracy commitment represents at the national level, is while the drumbeat has been unrelenting about our role in job training, the democracy commitment is our way of reminding ourselves that we have always been about educating people for lives as democratic citizens. We had an illustration of it tonight in the advocacy from these culinary students. Irrespective of the merits of the issue, it's neat to see that they've learned something else in our colleges besides just culinary arts. They've learned how to be advocates for themselves and citizens. I just wanted to lift up real quickly a couple of examples of things that our colleges are doing under the banner of the democracy commitment. Amy Byrne, who I'm about to introduce to you, and I will be going to Glendale tomorrow to meet with a couple of faculty who are undertaking a really innovative program to create what's called a human library, where students will interview other individuals to learn about difference and how to deal with difference. Mesa Community College will be embarking on a national program called Sustained Dialogue that will train students in how to have sustained dialogue over time with each other about issues of concern to them. A couple of our colleges, Scottsdale and South Mountain, are actively building civic and global engagement centers to be focal points for their work, and our other colleges are working on this as well. And last but not least, Chandler Gilbert was just picked as one of 10 community colleges in the country to receive a National Endowment for the Humanities grant called Bridging Cultures to Form a Nation. And it was a partnership between the American Association of Colleges and Universities and the Democracy Commitment to engage humanities faculty in helping to drill civic learning outcomes into their courses. The AAC&U was the spearhead behind this document, which is in front of you at your places, and this is something that the Center for Civic Participation was actively involved in as well. It represents this national theme that is growing in importance of community colleges and universities being about civic learning and democratic engagement. If you flip it open, this brochure about the democracy commitment just happens to be at page 59, because that is where the Maricopa Community Colleges Center for Civic Participation is cited as one of the examples of a national trailblazer in terms of civic learning and democratic engagement. So we're working frantically on this initiative. We're only a few months old, but one of the first things we did was we hired a national coordinator. Amy Byrne is here with us in Maricopa for a few days visiting our programs. She is herself a community college student, and we're delighted to have her on board with us. And her own narrative is around the importance of civic engagement in terms of completion and her ability to fulfill her destiny as a college student. She'll be visiting several of our colleges, and we'll also be participating in the Community College National Center for Community Engagement annual meeting, which will be held here this week, as you well know. That's something that Maricopa has supported for many years, and they're a partner with us in the democracy commitment. So I'd like to introduce Amy Byrne now and ask her to say a few words.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm just going to leave our start where Bernie left off and emphasize my own story of civic engagement as it is one that embodies the themes of the democracy commitment. It was my active experience of civic work that gave me the skills I needed to be gainfully employed. I think it's important to note that the same skills desired by employers surveyed across the nation are the same skills acquired through civic engagement and democratic practice, and such skills are actually cited on page 12 of the Crucible Moment report. My civic engagement helped me stay the course in my community college and university programs after I dropped out of a four-year university earlier on in my life. So as on page 8 of the Crucible Moment report, civic engagement is an important contributor to retention and completion, which I know is important to all of you sitting up here. With all the research done across the nation, results showed increased retention and completion rates among those students participating in civic engagement over those students who were not engaged. So to sum up, civic engagement helps students complete their programs and gives them the skills needed to be competitive in the global market. So this is the work of the Democracy Commitment. And I want to thank Maricopa for its leadership in helping the Democracy Commitment get off the ground. And on behalf of community college students and the community colleges across the nation, thank you.
Thank you. Secretary's report, Mr. Sarn.
None.
Okay. Let's see, student life reports. I don't show any. Do we have any student life reports tonight? None. Faculty Executive Council report, Eddie Jenna.
He's changed a lot, hasn't he?
Much better improvement.
That's what I have on the page.
Good evening, President Burke, members of the Governing Board, Chancellor Glassberg, members of the Chancellor's Executive Council, and honored guests. My name is Dr. Kathleen Mudicello. I'm a residential English faculty at Estrella Mountain Community College and this year's Faculty Association President-elect. I'm here on behalf of Harold Cranswick, who is the Faculty Association President this year. Tonight, I yield the floor to meet and confer chairs President Anna Sali and Professor Frank Wilson. Thank you.
Good evening, President Burke, members of the Governing Board, Dr. Glassberg, colleagues and guests. It gives us great pleasure to give you an update on faculty meet and confer negotiations this year. This presentation is being made by myself and my esteemed colleague, our co-chair, Frank Wilson. And this evening we're going to talk to you a little bit about the membership of our team. We're also going to talk a little bit about the process that we have undergone this past year. We're going to share some of the issues that were resolved as a result of our negotiations, and then talk about some issues that were not resolved and some that will carry into this coming year, 2012-2013. And these are the members of our team. We had two teams that came together, coalesced into one. So those representing the governing board include myself, Nikki Jackson, Linda Lujan, and Daniel Kaur. So I'd like to give them all a great round of applause for all of their work. And those representing the faculty team, again, our esteemed colleagues, Frank Wilson as team chair, representing academic faculty, Harold Cranswick, who is the FEC president-elect, now the FEC president, Pat Loki representing service faculty, and Keith Hefner representing occupational faculty. So let's give them a great round of applause. I also wanted to certainly mention that we had two observers. One of them is our esteemed colleague Eddie Jenna and our esteemed Vice Chancellor Deborah Thompson. They served as observers, and when our facilitator wasn't able to facilitate the meetings, they also facilitated the meetings. So I want to acknowledge them. So let's give them a round of applause. And then we were ably assisted by Carrie Taylor on behalf of the Faculty Association and Mark Anderson. They provided a lot of staff support, so round of applause for them. We really appreciated the opportunity to engage in IBN discussions because IBN focuses on issues, not personalities, and IBN is designed to develop win-win solutions or win-win options. And we underwent a rigorous process. We adhered to the negotiation process, and so I'm going to just walk you through the steps of that particular process. We jointly determined our problems and issues. We asked the governing board, CEC, vice presidents for issues. In turn, our faculty colleagues asked faculty members for issues. We came to the table with those issues and we developed a common set of issues. We then identified the history of every issue or every problem. We spent a lot of time talking about that particular issue. What's the history behind it? What does it mean to Maricopa? And then in turn, we identified the interests of stakeholders. Why is this issue important? What are the interests that our stakeholders have concerning the particular issue? We also brainstormed options to address problems and issues. We evaluated all of those options based on the interest, based on criteria that we jointly agreed to. And then we very much worked very hard to reach consensus on the various options. So basically, that's the process that we adhere to. Now I'm going to talk with you about some of the issues that we did resolve this year. There are 5 of them. Prorated extended contracts, leave of absence for personal reasons, faculty maximum workload, academic freedom, and RP clarification and cleanup. So let's talk about the first issue. What was the purpose behind this issue? This had to do with prorated extended contracts, and the purpose or the interest here was to provide colleges with flexibility in staffing to meet student learning needs. So again, that was the interest that we determined collectively. And what was our negotiated solution based on that interest or purpose? We agreed that upon mutual agreement from the faculty member and the college president, faculty contracts may be extended up to 10 weeks. So this would be above and beyond the 9-month faculty contract. And it wouldn't be intended for all faculty members. It would be intended for those under very unique circumstances. And again, it would be by mutual agreement. Let's say that one of our sister colleges has a need for a librarian to work 12 months a year. This would allow for that type of flexibility. The other part of the solution is that during extended contract periods, weekly hours of accountability are the same as during the normal contract period. And then during extended contract periods, faculty salaries are prorated. So we felt that was a very fair solution and option. The next has to do with leave of absence for personal reasons. The purpose or interest was to provide greater flexibility for colleges in accommodating personal leaves of absence. And also to allow faculty to return to work more quickly if they have to take a personal leave of absence during the semester, maybe for a few days, a few weeks. The negotiated solution speaks to that leaves of absence may be approved in increments of up to a semester. The old or former language said that they could return to work in increments of full semesters. So again, this allows for more flexibility. The other solution that we came up with for faculty maximum workload addressed when faculty teach additional classes and or additional work hours. As we know, we have very talented faculty. They're very dedicated to the work, and many of them like to take on additional assignments, and we like to support those additional assignments. So that's the interest here. The interest is also to allow them sufficient time to fulfill all of their professional responsibilities. And the negotiated solution, faculty can work a total of 25 load hours per semester. And the maximum teaching workload of that 25 hours is 22.5 load hours. And then in regards to service faculty, the workload is 47 clock hours. So again, came to a solid resolution on that particular item. The next issue that was resolved dealt with academic freedom, and the interest was to preserve existing academic freedom in anticipation of judicial erosion, and to clarify academic freedom so that it applies to all teaching environments, face-to-face, online hybrid, perhaps a workshop setting. And then also we want to continue to assure that faculty members are engaged in shared governance. And so the negotiated solution was to revise the academic freedom language to achieve this particular purpose.
There are also a variety of issues in the RFP that needed to be cleaned up, from grammatical errors to just inconsistency between parts of the RFP. And so we went through the RFP to look for those opportunities. So here are a few of the things that we addressed. We changed classroom to class to make sure it was clear that online and hybrid classes are truly classes, even though they may not have a physical classroom. They still count as classes. We clarified that commencement is a non-teaching professional responsibility. The language was already in there regarding ceremonial exercises, and we just made sure it was clear to everyone that commencement is one of those. We also clarified that a day shall consist of 6 hours for instructional faculty and 7 hours for service faculty for leave calculations. That language was already in the RFP, but when we got to the leave calculations areas, it was a little bit convoluted in terms of that, so we clarified that. We also improved consistency of language for bereavement leave benefits and clarified that division and department chairs are to be paid for supervising part-time staff, but not federal work study students. And again, these are clarifications and consistency, not major substantive issues to the RFP. Despite our good work, there were some issues which were unresolved, and we'll talk a little bit about those and where they're going from here. Salary inversion, faculty ratio and day evening distinction, and also some miscellaneous issues. I'll address the first two in a few minutes, but I'll go over the miscellaneous issues which are rolling forward to the next year. One thing about the IBM process is it allows us to work issues that are complex that may take more than 1 year to resolve. And that's a great benefit for us. You don't have to resolve everything like a soap opera in 30 minutes. If it's a complex issue, you can roll it forward and make sure you think deeply about the issues. And so the issues that are rolling forward are compensation inequities due to lab loading, probationary faculty evaluation, administrative evaluation, student complaint process, intellectual property, and reduction in force policy. We made some progress on some of these issues this year, but not enough to bring them forward to the board at this time. But we will be working on those next year. Salary inversion. The purpose of this is to address what we call salary inequities. Salary inversion occurs when recent hires are paid more than comparably qualified veteran employees. Hundreds of veteran MCCD faculty are paid less than comparably qualified recent hires. Our goal was to identify a way to correct the existing inversion and also prevent future inversion. That was the goal. We spent 2 years working on this. We did a lot of research collaboratively. In the IBM process, the data gathering is done jointly, and so we did work closely with the budget office, and we were doing our analyses and looking at ways to address this. Unfortunately, after 2 years, we were unable to come up with a solution to adequately address the interests of all parties involved. From a faculty perspective, we believe that with board support, we can work together jointly with our administrative colleagues and come up with a solution that's both equitable and also cost-effective. However, without board support, we don't believe that spending more time on this issue will lead to a different outcome. Faculty ratio and day evening. The purpose was to identify a sustainable residential adjunct faculty ratio, and also to modify our policy to better meet the needs of all students, including those outside the day program. As you may be aware, the RFP focuses much on students in the day program. But things have changed a lot. We've got students in the day program, and the night program, and the weekend program. And we want to make sure we're providing services to the students no matter what time of day that they attend. And so we've got some progress that we need to make on that. We did make some progress this year. We did reach consensus on a 60-40 ratio in principle. We still need to do more work to investigate the feasibility and develop an implementation plan. But we were pleased that we came up with, in principle, a ratio that we're going to work towards developing that implementation plan. Also during this coming year, we'll be determining what options related to the day-evening distinction should be implemented. A task force brought forward a number of options for us to consider, which were great. We just ran out of time before the year got over to sort through all those options and all the implications of those options. And so we'll be continuing that work in the coming year. We'd like to express gratitude to the members of the governing board for your support of us in the interest-based negotiation process. We also appreciate the step in the COLA. It's very much appreciated by the faculty, and we appreciate your support in that. We also appreciate the steps you took towards helping with the health benefits coverage, and we'd like to thank you for that.
Thank you. The part-time faculty, Phil Galloway. Are you still here? Phil's not here. Cheryl Caldwell, M&O.
Good evening. President Burke, members of the governing board, Chester Glasper, CE, and guests. My name is Cheryl Caldwell. I'm a groundskeeper at MCC at Red Mountain, and I am the M&O Employee Group President. We want to express our appreciation of the recent salary increase approvals. This has been a breath of fresh air for our group, and we want to let you know that we appreciate your support. Even though our numbers in the M&O department are dwindling, This department is a vital participant in the success of Maricopa. Keeping our buildings maintained, safe and clean, as well as maintaining the landscape, is the basic foundation for a successful learning atmosphere. In trying to determine ways in which the M&O department helps to support One Maricopa, I refer back to the many presentations that were made at the last governing board meeting in regards to wellness, student retention and completion, and the district's current green efforts. The first one I'll talk about is wellness. The M&O department should be the healthiest department in Maricopa. Stretching by reaching high to clean windows, squatting low to scrub baseboards, repair irrigation and scrape gum from the sidewalks. Lunges from pushing mops, walking many miles a day to pick up debris and mow lawns. Constant shoulder and wrist workouts from a variety of repairs, remodels, running to turn off water from broken pipes, lifting weights such as drywall and bags of cement. These are just a sample of the opportunities used by M&O employees to stay healthy. The next is student retention and completion. I feel that the M&O department is the most successful in student retention and completion. Nowhere across the district does this happen as well as in the restrooms. Students enter with a common goal, have high hopes for success, and have great satisfaction upon completion. No, those were your direct words. Those requirements for student completion and retention. Okay? Only interruption in this process would be cell phones and applying makeup. Okay, the green effort. M&O succeeds in this arena as well. We are green with envy with those who are in air-conditioned buildings in the heat of summer, as well as those who stay snugly warm when it is cold and rainy outside. We are green when we mow grass and our pants and shoes get stained. Okay? There is one green effort, though, that M&O cannot support. During the last board meeting, President Burke gave us a brief recess, and thank you very much. After taking a bathroom break, I realized too late that there was no toilet paper in the stall. This is where I have to put my foot down and put the blame solely on Susie Dole for paperless society, okay? An iPad is not an appropriate substitute for toilets. Our technology in M&O can be fairly simple. You know, you wave your hand, voila, you've got water and you've got paper to wipe your hands off with. When those don't work, we just change the batteries. George, the next time something happens with your systems, maybe you just need to change the batteries. I don't know. Again, thank you for the salary increase and for letting me speak tonight, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Caldwell. When I grow up, I'm going to apply for a job in M&O. Any other employee groups who wish to make a report? Next is our Vice Chancellor reports. Dr. Maria Harper-Marinick. Actually, Ms. Dr. Harper,
yes.
there you are. Good.
In the same place. Thank you for giving us the opportunity, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, colleagues, and guests. Tonight, we appreciate having some time to share with the board information about the athletics programs at the colleges and the great success of our students in those programs. So I am going to ask John Milhern and Jamie Wong to go to the podium and make the presentation, please. John is the interim director of athletics at Mesa Community College, and Jamie is the acting director of athletics at Gateway Community College.
Good evening. Ms. Jamie Long and I would like to thank the governing board, presidents, and all in attendance for granting us the time and opportunity to speak on behalf of MCCCD Athletics. The athletic directors and the District Athletic Council are very proud to be part of a rich athletic history that has stretched over 90 years and includes thousands of student athletes, dedicated and faithful coaches, and loyal administrators. Our short presentation tonight includes a PowerPoint, a video, and a handout brochure. I will only highlight the PowerPoint slides as our presentation time is limited to an hour and a half. Well, I mean 5 minutes. I was told an hour and a half. And the following slides that I'm going to show you are only for a 7-year period. These are statistics from 2004 to 2011. The 2011-2012 statistics are currently being compiled. Some of the NJCA academic success from 2004 to 2011, we had 443 NJCA academic All-Americans, and that includes first team to honorable mention. We had 181 all-academic teams. The top 3 are right in front of you. Phoenix College led the group with 58. We also had 10 national academic teams of the year. Some of the community partners that our athletic programs have partnered with: Adoptive Family, Goodwill of Arizona, Special Olympics, St. Mary's Food Bank, Komen Foundation for Breast Cancer Awareness, Christmas Angel, and Dumpster Dive. I also wanted to highlight some of the NJC individual and team successes. From 2004 to 2011, we had 321 NJC All-Americans. That was from first team to honorable mention. During that same time frame, we had 11 national championships. We had 4 in softball from Phoenix College. Paradise Valley had 2 in men's and women's cross country. South Mountain Community College had 1 in men's golf. Paradise Valley took women's soccer national championship, and they were actually undefeated through the regular season, district play, and national tournament play. Currently, we have 2 national champions in 2011, 2012, men's cross country at Paradise Valley, and just recently, Phoenix College softball, I believe, won their 8th national championship in the past 7 or 11 years. So we have Phoenix College as our softball champion. 4-year transfers. We have over 1,750 student athletes transferred to 4-year colleges. Some of the colleges: Arizona State University, Brigham Young University, University of Texas, Oklahoma State University, University of Louisville, Purdue University, Cornell University, and University of Southern Cal, and there's many more. And we also wanted to kind of highlight the history of athletics and the success. And it should be about 66 now, but over the past 90 years, we've had 64 national championships, 13 in men's golf. Baseball, we've had 7. Football, we've had 6. Volleyball, we've had 5. And we also have 1 in men's tennis. So I just kind of wanted to highlight this real quickly today.
The sound's not working.
I have no idea.
It's been a while. It was last summer. Yes. Well, as the audio is not working, the purpose of this presentation was to show the value of athletics within Maricopa. As John has shown, we have tremendous success academically as well as athletically. Currently, as a DAC, we are working on becoming One Maricopa as well. We are creating an athletics website. We're standardizing our eligibility practices. We're collaborating on the best practices for athletic health and safety and sportsmanship expectations.
We can send copies of the DVD
We can
to the
send.
board
We
and
have copies.
CEC also.
Yes, absolutely. As I said, the video was just a collaboration to give
an idea of everything that athletics does bring to Maricopa. Is there any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I'm really impressed with the success you're having and the number of students moving on to college. I mean, that's been your goal. It's just extremely impressive, the undefeated team. I mean, not that only victory is the only thing, but I'm sure you're offering the kids a lot more. I mean, there's a lot you can learn in college, in athletics and sports and teamwork that you can't just learn in the classroom. And I think with the athleticism and the education, we're really building some dynamic students, and I appreciate all you do. I think athletics is important.
Thank you. Well, I can't go without saying something. Echo what you said. I really appreciate the fact that the athletic directors have come together to look at the issues that confront us, both from a budgetary standpoint and others. I know that they're working hard on making changes to how athletes are treated for injuries and so forth, so that we can hopefully reduce our experience with injuries. I also I think it's important to invite the community to our athletic events. I've been to numerous ones throughout the last couple of years, and it's great entertainment. I'll match it against any athletic venue in the valley, quite frankly. And the average cost of a paid event is $5, not $500 or $50. And I think you walk away with a lot of value when you watch our athletes perform on the floor, on the field. But I think, having said all that, my most common comment to the community when I talk to them are the grade point averages that our athletes, and I commend not just the athletes themselves, but the support staff that you give those athletes uniquely to get through their scholastic responsibilities on top of oftentimes working and participating in the sport. So congratulations to the athletes and to you as well for keeping these programs going.
The next item is college reports. Dr. Saleh from Phoenix College.
Sure. President Burke, governing board members, Dr. Glasper, colleagues, and guests, I'm pleased to announce that our Phoenix College Bears women's softball team won an NJCAA Division II National Championship this past Saturday in Clinton, Mississippi. The team, who will also be recognized as an academic All-American team next month, had a wonderful season. They accumulated 51 regular season wins and was ranked number 2 in the nation prior to the national tournament. In the double elimination national tournament, the Bears had to win 6 games to win the title. In the championship game, they had to defeat LSU Eunice twice. And that particular team was ranked number 1 in the nation at the time. And so when they won for the title, beat that team, they did it by scores of 5-1 and 2-1. Nail biter. There were 2 national tournament records set by Phoenix College: most home runs by a team, 12 home runs, and most home runs by a player, 6. That was done by Rachel Meyer. The team was nicknamed the Bombing Bears by the online commentators, and one of our pitchers was nicknamed Mama Bear because she's 37 years old. She's a really great tribute and scholar athlete at Phoenix College. And one of the students' home runs hit approximately 400 feet. So that's a phenomenal range. 6 of our players received individual tournament awards. This was our 9th national championship in softball and our 8th over the last 11 years. The team is led by the legendary coach, Heinz Mueller, who has been coaching softball for 22 years. Earlier in the season, in March of this year, he won his 1,000th game. He is only one of 3 coaches to accomplish this feat in the NJCAA. So I'd like to congratulate our students, the Lady Bears, our coaches, our trainers, faculty members, our athletic director, Samantha Zell, and our Vice President of Administrative Services, Paul DeRose, because they have done a phenomenal job. And I also want to invite you all, if you're not doing anything tomorrow at 1:30, we're having our own celebration at Phoenix College in the Cave. This is the Center for Athletic Victory and Excellence. We're having a celebration at 1:30, so everybody in the room is invited. So thank you all very much.
Do you mind if
I add one thing to Mama Bear, the 37-year-old?
Sure, absolutely.
I was under the impression that she also, when she was 20, won a national championship at Phoenix College as well. Is that true? I thought.
I'm not sure.
I think when she was 20, she pitched for Phoenix College and won a national championship.
Okay.
Now,
Thank
17
you.
years later,
All
she
right.
pitched
We'll have to
again.
confirm
So she's been an All-American 16 years apart and won 2 national championships.
Okay, thank you for that.
That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you. Do any of the other college presidents have a report? Okay. We go now to the external community. The Arizona Association of District Governing Board members will meet June 11, so I will have a report on that meeting at the next business meeting. ASBA report, Mr. Starr.
Dr. Lum, myself, and the Chancellor met with the members of the Arizona School Board Association, that's the K-12 governing board organization, and discussed the numerous ways that we could collaborate on our student success initiative, especially directed toward our developmental education. I think it was a great first step, and we're looking forward to additional meetings and participating in their national conference in December. As a presenter on some of these issues, I think we're off to a great start. Okay.
Thank you. Do we have a legislative update tonight?
No, sir.
Okay. Do we have any awards or recognitions? Hearing none. We move to the approval of the order of the agenda. All right, Dr. Campbell moves. Mr. Starr seconds a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor of approving the order of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. We move to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Dr. Campbell moves and Mr. Lum seconds the motion to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. We move to the consideration of non-consent action items. 6A is the approval of board resource workplace violence prevention. Dr. Glasper.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, this item is here for its final reading. It's an action item, and it is recommended that the governing board amend the existing workforce violence prevention administrative regulation of the Maricopa Community College District. Under the Maricopa Governance Manual, this administrative reg rests in the board resources section, and it's an administrative operational policies that require governing board approval for amendment. And I understand that after review, we would like, Mr. Sarr, can I make this on your behalf, Mr. Sarr? We would like to amend the resolution and take out the very last sentence, which says no form of workforce violence will be tolerated, because it's repetitive to the individual items that are listed in the proposed amendments. And with that, I ask the board for their approval of this item.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the statement on workplace violence prevention with the omission of the last sentence?
So, second.
Mr. Starr moves. Mr. Lum seconds the motion to approve the the workplace violence prevention amendment with the exclusion of the last sentence. Is there any discussion? And all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Academic Affairs, approval of the 2012-2013 Student Insurance Program renewal. Dr. Harper Marion.
Thank you, Mr. Burke, members of the board, Chancellor, and colleagues. With this item, we're requesting the approval of the renewal of our student insurance policies, and I will ask Ruth Unks. Are you here, Ruth? Oh, thank you. To provide some highlights on this item, and while she's walking to the podium, I would like to thank Ruth and her staff for outstanding work this year on the development of these policies.
Thank you. President Burke,
members of the board and members of the CEC and other distinguished guests here tonight. It's my privilege to come to you tonight to ask for the renewal of our student insurance. It's been a rough road. We continue to have claims that are in excess of the premium that we have paid. But the good thing is that there's insurance companies out there that still want to insure us. And the other really good thing is we have a devoted group of people that have come together this last year to talk about ways to reduce our student injuries. That's the most important thing about this process, is reducing the student injuries. We can always find insurance somewhere, but the main thing is to reduce student injuries. So with that, I would like to ask Dr. Debbie Kushabath and Samantha Ezel to come up and share with me the progress that we've made this last year in our reduction in this process to reduce student injuries.
President Burke, the District Athletic Council, along with Vice Presidents for Student Affairs, worked this past year very diligently to try and find ways to mitigate student injuries. That was our most important cause. And so the colleges did that. They put in place quite a few things this last year that have already reduced injuries. And we've already seen our premium from Mutual of Omaha come in at a reduced rate. We also have a plan in place that we provided to Dr. Maria Hopper-Marinick to further reduce injuries and claims, and we plan to put that in place this year. Any questions?
What are some of the items?
Yeah. Sure. One of the things has been injury tracking software. Many of the colleges are purchasing that, and that just helps them to see where the injuries are occurring. And once they learn if there's repetitive injuries, then they know how to mitigate those. Looking at our facilities and our equipment and making some upgrades there, and that has reduced injuries. Hiring people who do physical therapy on site as opposed to sending students out. And then also looking at students as they're coming in and further looking at their health history, sometimes EKGs and et cetera. So quite a few different ways.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, the only thing I would add to that, excuse my hoarse voice from softball last weekend. The only thing I would add to that would be we're also looking at a reduction of playing seasons or the length of the participation time out of season and in season to be more in conjunction with the NCAA policy. The NJCAA policy allows for more participation time and hence potentially more injuries. So we're also looking at a reduction of potentially reducing the participation time.
Great.
I want to add one that I heard John mention, and that was making sure that when students come out for a sport that they're actually prepared physically to participate. I think oftentimes you come into a football field thinking that you're as good as you were when you're in high school, and you realize that all that stuff you did all the last 2 years that didn't get you any stronger are going to be a problem for you.
Right. We're looking to become more of a one Maricopa in terms of our strength and conditioning programs. Right now, every school has a different philosophy and a different way that they implement strength and conditioning. And our best practices proposal is one that would make it across the board the same at every institution, and again, potentially reduce the injuries that the students would obtain not being prepared.
Thank you. We appreciate your caring for students. Let's see. Is there a motion to approve the 2012-2013 student insurance program renewal? Mr. Sarr moves.
Second.
Mr. Lum seconds the motion to approve the 2012-2013 student insurance program renewal. Any discussion? And all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We move to business services. And the first item is the approval of property purchase for Phoenix College located at 3144 North 7th Avenue, Phoenix, Arizona. Ms. Thompson, would you care to comment?
Mr. President, members of the board, this is a facility that we recommend that the board approve the purchase of approximately $2.9 million plus closing costs, and it has nearly 2 acres, a two-story office building with approximately 55,000 square feet that the college would like to use to expand its allied health and dental programs.
Is there a motion to approve the purchase of the property at 3144 North 7th Avenue in Phoenix for Phoenix College?
So moved.
Ms. Pearson moves, Dr. Campbell seconds the motion. Is there any discussion?
I think it was great that 4 of the 5 board members were able to go out and visit the property, and it's pretty impressive. I think we're getting a great bargain for Phoenix College, and we got it at a great price, and it's going to be a great facility, and it's just right near the college.
Any others? Okay, all of those in favor of the motion to purchase property at 3144 North 7th Avenue for Phoenix College, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Excuse me. All right, the second item is the approval of the lease agreement between Chrysler Group LLC and Maricopa Community College District on behalf of Glendale Community College. Ms. Thompson, would you care to comment?
Mr. President, members of the board, this is for Chrysler to lease from the district in Glendale Community College over 8,000 square feet for a full-scale training program on product lines including Chrysler, Maserati, and Fiat. And there'll be significant benefits coming to the college in the form of endowment for tools, equipment, training, access to Chrysler instructors, as well as $78,000 a year in rent.
I'm going to accept this motion.
Mr. Lund moves to accept.
Second.
Ms. Pearson seconds the motion to approve a lease agreement between Chrysler Group LLC and Maricopa County Community College District on behalf of Glendale Community College. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All of those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. The third item is the approval of conceptual approval to remodel the HT1 building at Glendale Community College. Ms. Thompson, Dr. care to comment?
Mr. President, members of the board, this is a remodel program that will allow the Office of Information Technology, when the remodeling is completed, to consolidate, and that will improve the efficiency and effectiveness of those operations.
I move to accept this motion.
Mr. Lund moves acceptance.
Second.
Ms. Pearson seconds the motion to approve the conceptual approval to remodel the HT1 building at Glendale Community College. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. The fourth item is the approval of contract award for the construction of Phase 2 of the new incubator facility at Gateway Community College. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, the first phase of this initiative was completed and that facility is now open. This is the second phase to develop about 5,500 square feet, and the recommendation is to award to Core Construction for approximately $1.7 million.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Dr. Campbell moves.
Second.
Mr. Starr seconds the motion to approve the contract award for the construction of Phase 2 of the new incubator facility at Gateway Community College. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. The fifth item is the approval of job order contract award to remodel the theater out back at Mesa Community College. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, this is another of the district's efforts to remodel our older performing arts facilities, and we recommend its approval.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Dr. Campbell moves to approve. Mr. Starr seconds the motion for the job order contract award to remodel the theater out back at Mesa Community College. Any discussion?
Comment?
Yes.
I just want to make a comment that I appreciated Glendale's pictures in there on the agenda. amazes us absence of those, of this project.
Oh, okay. Any other comments? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. The sixth item is the approval of job order contract award to remodel the student lounge area and restrooms in the Kirk Center, Student Center at Mesa Community College. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, this will remodel about 3,600 square feet, which will improve the dated age facility and also allow compliance with ADA standards in the restrooms.
I move we accept this motion.
Mr. Lund moves.
Second.
Mr. Starr seconds the motion of the job order contract award to remodel the student lounge area and restrooms in the Kirk Student Center at Mesa Community College. Any discussion?
Just one comment. Dr. Kirk was my high school counselor about 65 years ago.
They work.
Well, how about that? Well, I worked with her for a number of years. Yeah, that's great. We're talking about Jeanette Kirk, who was the former dean of students at Mesa Community College.
Before that, she was at Phoenix Tech High School.
Great. Well, we honor her.
And there's still not a picture.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 7. Approval of a job order contracting construction award for lobby and office remodeling of the downtown Mesa campus of Mesa Community College. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, this project will remodel about 2,300 square feet at the downtown Centennial Center building and will improve the entrance area, lighting, seating, and student use of the space.
Is there a motion to approve? Dr. Campbell moves. Mr. Starr seconds a motion for a job order contracting construction award for lobby and office remodeling the downtown Mesa campus of Mesa Community College. Any discussion?
Same comment.
Yes.
She wants pictures.
Oh. Okay. All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Item 8 is the approval of the job order contracting JOC award to remodel the student life area in the Mesquite building at Mesa Community College at Red Mountain. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, this is about 2,300 square feet that will be remodeled, and it's expected to improve security and improve the operational space and flow and better use made for the students who use the area.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Heard Mr. Starr move, Dr. Campbell second. The motion to approve the job order contracting award to remodel the student life area in the Mesquite building at Mesa Community College at Red Mountain. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman? Besides the fact that they haven't shown us where it's at, how it's being, and so forth, like the other ones did. Again, but my other question, when I read this, I was like, what does this mean, security? I mean, this sounds like it's an intensified word for a reason to address something to do with security of students. Do we know? I mean, that's a word that just kind of like red flags to me. To use and throw that word. Why? What do we...
The area right now, the area with the office and student function is the same space. Not so much in the safety part of it. It is try to enlarge the space, give greater space for students to play games, or also quiet areas so they can separate in that sense. So it's not so much safety, security. This is the second floor. If you remember where the student life areas, we're trying to gather more lobby space to enclose it. Students have a place where to watch TV, play games, but also a quiet conversation space. Enclosing more the corridor. If you remember on the second floor, there's a lot of open area while enclosing that to make it for student usage.
So this isn't a safety. All right. Thank you.
Any other comment? Okay. Do we have a motion and a second on it? Right. Okay. All right. All those in favor of the approval of the job order contracting award to remodel the student life area in the Mesquite Building at Mesa Community College at Red Mountain, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Number 9 is the approval of a contract award for the 2012 annual summer pavement maintenance program district-wide. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. Burke, members of the board, this is for paving improvements at 12 of our locations, and this is something that we do every summer at different locations in order to make sure that parking lots are in good working order.
I would accept it.
Mr. Long moves. Dr. Campbell seconds the motion to approve the contract award for the 2012 annual summer pavement maintenance program district-wide. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 10 is the approval of a conceptual approval for the remodeling of 3700 North 3rd Avenue for Phoenix College. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, this is part of our bond program, and with the renovation, remodeling, the college will be able to move the nursing program into the facility.
Any, let's see, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Pearson moves.
Second.
Dr. Campbell seconds. The motion. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I want to thank Phoenix College for the picture and the outline of exactly, I can visualize this. I can visualize exactly where it's at. Well, besides it's a satellite picture. But, and the way that they did the budget breakdown, I really appreciated that because it really helps the way that I think about monies and things of that nature, exactly how this is going to be made a reality. So thank you very much.
Any other comment? And all of those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 11 is the approval of the job order contract construction award for the remodeling of the Green Learning Lab at the Rio Salado College Downtown Center. Ms. Thompson.
Mr. President, members of the board, this also is part of our bond program, and if the remodeling will allow for better use for classrooms, vocational areas, workshops, support spaces, and admin offices.
Is there a motion to approve? Dr. Campbell moves. Mr. Starr seconds the motion for approval of the job order contract construction award for the remodeling of the Green Learning Lab at the Rio Salado College Downtown Center. Any discussion? Hearing none. All of those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Number 12, the approval of contract award for hazardous materials abatement for the life science building at Scottsdale Community College. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, this also is part of our bond program. In order to move forward with remodeling of this building, first asbestos needs to be removed and some interior demolition needs to occur. That is to proceed with those efforts.
Good. Is there a motion to approve?
So
Heard Mr. Starr move and Dr. Campbell second the motion to approve a contract award for hazardous materials abatement for the life science building at Scottsdale Community College. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Item 13, the approval of the job order contract award contract for remodeling the cafeteria at South Mountain Community College. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, this is also part of our bond program, and it's remodeling of the cafeteria that's in the college's student union.
So moved.
Dr. Campbell moves.
Second.
Mr. Starr seconds the motion for a job order contract award contract for remodeling the cafeteria at South Mountain Community College. Any discussion? And all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Section D, Human Resources, and the item on the agenda is approval of charter school proposed salary schedule for year 2012-2013, the Gateway Early College High School. Ms. Jackson, let's see. Yeah. Would you care to?
Absolutely, no problem. Yeah. President Burke and members of the board, this item requests governing board approval of the 2012-2013 salary schedule for the Gateway Early College High School. This schedule represents a 6% increase, and please note that the salary schedule has not been increased for this group since 2012.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Lum moves. Second. Mr. Sarr seconds. Motion to approve the charter school proposed salary schedule for 2012-2013 for the Gateway Early College High School. Any discussion?
Yes. I have a little bit of concern. I recognize that this hasn't been increased since 2005, but I do want to go on record and express that this 6% increase in one fell swoop, broken down over these years, can be somewhat justified when you go back to 2005. But to me, this is an issue of this increase not occurring since 2005, then trying to catch it all up basically in one fell swoop. I just really have a problem with this. I really have a problem with this. This is a bad approach. This is not the way to do things. It's not that I disagree with that. 2005, that this percentage since 2005 isn't justified. It's not that I don't think that they deserve or earn to be making that kind of money or any of that kind of thing. It's this approach. To say to me, and in my opinion to this board, well, they haven't had an increase since 2005, doesn't fix it, doesn't make it right. And so I am really frustrated with that.
Okay. Does any other board member have a comment?
Yeah, I've been watching these. We've been struggling with these budgets and for the last few years keeping costs down, and these teachers haven't got any salary increase. I don't think the salaries are that high as teachers, and but I just take up the side of Pearson and say I think they need a salary increase, and I think I'm glad we're able to do it.
Mr. President, again, I'm not saying they don't and shouldn't have a salary increase. I'm not saying they shouldn't be making this kind of money. The problem, and my issue is that it doesn't set well to do a 6% all at the same time, all at this time, and use as a justification that, let me give you a comparison. It's like somebody saying, I have to totally gut my house because I haven't done maintenance on it for 20 years. I understand it might need to be remodeled, might need to be done because it's been neglected, but it's just not the way to do things.
Okay. Any other comment?
Chairman, I find it difficult to compare a rundown house with the human beings who live today. I have to call for the vote.
If there's no other discussion, I will call a vote. Are we ready?
I'd like a roll call.
Okay. All right, we'll do this by roll call. Let's see. So we'll take a vote by each board member on the approval of charter school proposed salary schedule for 2012-2013 for Gateway Early College High School. Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Love?
I would aye.
Mr. Sarr?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
No.
I vote aye. The motion passes 4-1. The next item is the approval of the charter school proposed salary schedule for year 2012-2013 for Phoenix College Preparatory Academy. Mr. Bauer?
Yes, President Burke and members of the board. Again, in similar fashion, this item requests approval of the 2012-2013 salary schedule as shown for the Phoenix College Preparatory Academy. Again, this is a 6% increase, and also again, the salary schedule has not been touched since 2005.
Okay. Is there discussion from the board?
Motion.
Oh, yes. Is there a motion to approve?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell moves.
Second.
Mr. Lum seconds the motion to approve the charter school proposed salary schedule for 2012-2013 for Phoenix College Preparatory Academy. Is there discussion? You want to?
I would like to request a roll call vote.
Yes. All right. Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lum.
I will aye.
Mr. Starr.
Aye.
Ms. Pearson.
Again, I'd like to explain my vote.
Yes.
Again, it's not that I have a problem or an issue with the salary schedule and the monies that I feel that these teachers are deserving of. It is the process and the manner in which this has been done and neglected since 2005, which is long before any kind of economic downturn. And so that negligence and the approach to this is why I choose to vote no.
Okay. Okay, I vote aye. The motion passes 4-1. We have information items. One, the 2012-2013 temporary pay rates, temporary employee guideline. Mr. Bowers?
Yes, President Burke and members of the board. What is attached here are the 2012-2013 temporary pay rates and the guidelines that govern the pay for temporary employees. And these are updated to reflect the increases as part of the budget for 2012-2013.
Thank you. Is there any question regarding this item? Yes.
I just want to correct. I just think there's a technical error in here.
All right.
On the under general procedures on the first line or the. In the community college district temporary pay rates, first paragraph under general procedures, the temporary pay rates. Second sentence. Temporary ray rates?
Pay rates. Pay rates. It's just misspelling.
Yes,
right?
thank you.
We'll take note of that. Pay rate, not rate. Okay. All right. We go to the monitoring reports. Let's see. Ms. Thompson?
Mr. President, members of the board, this is the monitoring report under business services is the budget analysis report for the general fund for 10 months of the fiscal year through April 30th. Our spending patterns are similar to prior years, which you would expect because most of our spending is on payroll and benefits, and that's bi-weekly. And the amounts are consistent with prior years, as I indicated. The revenue collections are also similar and on target with our budget forecast, and we do expect to end the year meeting financial stability requirements.
Did the board member have a question?
In terms of the revenue, have we seen any fluctuation from past years that are connected to the economy and collection of property taxes?
No, it's been steady, about 89%, which it's been forever.
Our next governing board meeting will be on June 26th. It will be a regular board meeting. We will not have a work session in June. So we look forward to seeing all of you here on June 26th. This meeting is adjourned.